Well, they sure didn't say that for the last 4 years. He's been out there saying Trump-Russia collusion. He's been on CNN talking about it as well. So, Shazam, maybe he's now figured out the truth. But, you know, think about this. For 4 years, they told us the Steele dossier was credible. I mean, anyone who looks at that knows that, you know, a story in the National Enquirer has got more truth to it than the Steele dossier. So it's nice he's finally come around to the truth. But he sure hadn't said that for 4 years. And what they put the country through, Comey, McCabe, Baker, Strzok, Page, those 5 top people at the FBI, all been fired or left the FBI because of this whole thing. I guess it's great he's finally now figured out the truth. Although I don't know if he actually believes that, because he also said today in his testimony, Liz, that he thinks Peter Strzok didn't let his bias impact his running the case. Are you kidding me? This is the guy who said, don't worry, Lisa, we'll stop Trump. So I don't put a whole lot of stock in what Andy McCabe says.
You know, and then we had Senator Graham saying, you know, he's talking again. Andrew McCabe is talking like the other officials that, you know, everyone's responsible, but no one's accountable. That's how it feels. I mean, let's watch Andrew McCabe talk around and around in circles and repeating James Comey's line that he was unaware of things. Watch this.
I am simply following the findings of the Inspector General, which documented Mr. Kleinsmith's intentional acts, but failed to find any evidence, documentary or testimonial, to indicate that the other mistakes in the FISA package were the result of intentional misconduct.
So again, he's saying that everything the FBI did in terms of abuse was unintentional. Go ahead, take that on.
No, I mean, here's the trouble with that. These investigations are normally run out of the field office. These guys brought it to the headquarters. In fact, they have a term for it, a headquarters special. They brought it to the headquarters so that Andy McCabe, Jim Comey, Jim Baker, Lisa Page, and Peter Strzok could all run this case. So then to now say, oh, but I didn't really know what's going on. It's just Mr. Kleinsmith based on what the Inspector General said. That doesn't fly. It doesn't pass the smell test because you guys specifically brought it to the headquarters. You ran this whole thing out of the headquarters and you launched this investigation on a dossier that anyone knows and everyone knows today was completely false. And you did it back in 2016 on July 31st, trying to get the president before he was even elected.
You know, and then McCabe denied knowing who ordered Peter Strzok to keep General Michael Flynn's case open, even though Andrew McCabe was running the show there. So again and again, I mean, CNN hired Andrew McCabe as an analyst. So if he keeps saying he's unaware of probes that he was running, that he doesn't know what was going on in them, it's sort of like James Comey saying, I was unaware dozens of times. I mean, why would you buy James Comey's book if he's so unaware of what's going on? You know what I mean, Jim? So it's like, you know, so how do you, so the problem is, and you just pointed it out. They had a politicized probe inside headquarters, right? Go ahead.
Sure. No, they definitely knew what they were doing to General Flynn, because the now famous January 5th meeting in January 5th, 2017, during the transition, that's when the meeting in the Oval Office, you got Obama, you got Comey, you got Rice, you got all the top people, you got Joe Biden there, all the top people, and they put together the plan on how they were going to take out Michael Flynn. And 19 days later, 4 days into the Trump administration, they sneak people into Flynn's office and set him up. And the reason they had to do it, is because they knew Michael Flynn would figure out what they had done. Michael Flynn was former head of the Defense Intelligence. Michael Flynn's a 3-star general, served our country for 33 years. He would figure it out. So step one of the cover-up was to make sure we take out Michael Flynn. And they did. And they've made a 3-star general's life miserable for the past 4 years. Yeah. And now for Andy McCabe saying, I didn't know about it, wasn't my fault, is baloney.
You know, at the end of the day, you know where this people keep saying over and over again. We talked to so many people inside the FBI. This leads right to the desk of President Barack Obama. That's what we keep hearing time and again. That's why they keep saying in testimony, we're unaware, we don't know who did this, that, or the other thing, because it came from the top down. So, you know, when we look at the facts and the details, and we had Andrew McCabe undercutting and downplaying the Steele dossier, which you just mentioned, that the Hillary campaign funded and the DNC funded, and basically was used for wiretaps. You know, if he's downplaying it, why was it so important then to put it in the intelligence community assessment that James Comey demanded the CIA put in there? As even though Andrew McCabe is now downplaying it, we didn't really rely on it, but it was so important to put in the ICA. Your final word, Congressman.
They needed They needed some predicate because they didn't have anything else. And we now know that they knew there was no proper predicate because Rick Grinnell released the transcripts. Clapper said, I never saw really any evidence of collusion or conspiracy between Trump campaign and Russia. They all said, or Susan Rice said the same thing. Yeah. So they had to have something. They had to have something. So they used this bogus dossier that the Clinton campaign paid for. And she did it all to try to take heat off of her for the email.